Go now. To the tunnel of love. What are you on time?
Traffic's a mess. They protect the tunnel. We'll just make it.
The tunnel, which runs under 24 feet of riverbed and 72 feet of water, was completed in 1926.
That's a genius. Right into the tunnel.
Oh, we got a live one here.
I was up at my winter resort place, my ranch up near Lake Tahoe, and the script came, and it was called Daylight. I'd almost died in the Copley Plaza fire in Boston in 1979, and I began thinking about all these firemen, all these emergency medical service workers. So I thought, you know, maybe this movie could be like a payback to men and women who do this, make our society better, contribute, risk their lives in these horrible disaster situations.
I think that would be diminishing the actual intent of the film to say that it was, quote, an action film, because it's not a chase film, it's not about guns and bullets, it's about the internal combustion of fear and trying to suppress it and overcome it.
Sylvester Stallone, everybody agreed that he was, of the major stars, he would be the perfect guy.
If you want to buy some time, you got to pull the tunnel shut. What are you doing here, kid? You're not part of this. I know that, but just listen to me.
I'd say that Rob has been instrumental in trying to support what I've been trying to do for a while, because he wanted a very naturalistic character. He wanted to have a person that I am somewhat in my private life to be on camera.
And action!
Replica of one of the more famous tunnels in New York. It's been painstakingly researched down to the tiles and the fact that it's been built to handle an ocean of water and the cave-ins. This tunnel is really a miracle of engineering. I've never seen a set like it.
The most difficult thing was to build this section of tunnel in such a way that we could use one, otherwise we would probably have to build two, because there's so many things that have to happen. And I think we had something like 7 or 8 revamps where we had to move the crew out, change the tunnel to the next stage, and move it back in.
What happens, and it almost happened in the late 40s, is there's a collision in the tunnel. One truck is carrying toxic waste, which happens all the time illegally, and then there's another person who is trying to escape from the police. There's an accident that happens, the truck is hit from behind by the two perpetrators. A fireball occurs and then it seeks air. So the tunnel becomes like a gun barrel and it rolls over all these hapless victims, microwaving its way to the very end of the tunnel where it causes a collapse. And there's no way into this tunnel. Basically, these people have been sealed and buried alive.
I didn't want it to just be generic fire. I wanted the fire to have an anatomy. It had what we called the leading edge, which in my mind was like a rototiller. And the mass behind the leading edge was the fireball. And the third element was what I called the plasma, which was like the surface of the sun.
There's a tremendous amount of live action cuts within that sequence, and a lot of it has obviously enhanced fire elements on it. But they started with our material, and then if it needed more fire, then the CGI guys would enhance it.
Shots that Rob worried about were things like Amy inside the car. One fellow's idea was to take a flamethrower and just blast it against the windshield. I mean, that's not a good idea. What if something happens to Amy? Not good. So instead I said, oh, let's just do colored light, interactive light in the tunnel, photograph her, and let's composite all the flame in after the fact, so it's safer at least, and we can achieve the same thing. So Rob immediately liked that. Grant McCune at that time had been hired to do all the miniatures.
When we finished